Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my first place Sunavalon Rika deck profile that I took to the sneak peek. I guess they're called premiere events now, but basically you're allowed to play cards from the Power of the Elements in this deck, and I figured that this was the best deck to take to it, because obviously all this really needed was just 4 cards, just 2 of the new princess and then 2 of the field spell. And honestly, it performed really well because I won. And yeah, no, this deck is actually just like really solid. I think what makes this deck really good for this event specifically was that a lot of people didn't have access to sprite cards or to tier element cards. They didn't have the deck because obviously they're expensive decks, and I don't think people were expecting to buy the full deck, the day of. So yeah, that's what made this deck like really good. I think that this deck actually has a pretty decent rogue chance in the upcoming format. I think that it's really cool. Maybe a tier 2 option, maybe. But I think that it's just a really cool list. So let's just go ahead and go through it. So we play 3 copies of Loci, 3 copies of Lone Fire Blossom, and then we play other ways to get to Loci. So we have the Unexpected Die, and we have 1 for 1. So this is 10 ways to get to the Loci, although if you draw like multiples and you have the Lone Fire can become a way to get into like literally anything else in your deck, which is actually just like insane. So shoutouts to Lone Fire for being just like such a broken card. Card is actually just like insane, and Unexpected Die is also really good because you don't use your normal summon, which makes like certain like lines like super good, because a lot of times you're gonna add back Lone Fire off of your Strenna back to your hand, and you can't really normal summon it if you've used your normal on the Loci, but if you use the Unexpected Die, you can just extend even further, which makes it like actually just like insane. We play 1 copy of Sewing and 1 copy of Twin. The reason we play these 2 is because they're just bricks. I mean, you have to really play them to like extend fully throughout your combo. We don't play Laurel, so it's just these 2, and they're not like the worst thing ever to draw. You can still like play sometimes if you draw these cards, but it's definitely better if they're in your deck. Then moving on into the Rika package. For consistency, we're playing the 3 Glamour, which searches the 2 copies of Petal. So we have 15 starters. This is also considered a starter, because by itself it's like 5 interruptions. So it's like, or not five, sorry, that is way incorrect. There's 5 copies, I think that's what I meant to say with the 5. But no, by itself it's like 2 or 3 interruptions, because you can have like Sheet, sometimes you can have Princess Engrave, and then you can have the field spell, so it's like 2 to 3 depending on if you have access to one of those pieces. So yeah, no, this is like actually just like insane. Yeah, I would definitely keep those ratios. Honestly, I might cut Petal to 1. The reason I played 2 was because of DD Crow, because DD Crow is pretty popular. But a lot of times they'll DD Crow your Loci during your combo, so I don't know, maybe it's worth keeping it in the deck, to be honest. Then for like the Rika package, we're on 2 Princess and 1 Primula. Primula is insane and absolutely necessary, because during certain combo lines, you can use Glamour to tribute one of your dudes on your field. Search this, and then you get a free Strenna, because Primula is going to trigger in a new chain to summon, and then this is going to also trigger to summon, and then you have 2 level 4s, you make Strenna. So it's like actually insane. Yeah, no, having Princess as being a level 4 is like literally like the most broken thing that could have ever happened. So shoutouts to Konami for printing like the perfect level Rika, because that was like actually insane. Because before we had to play Carrot Weight and use our normal summon on it, which was really rough. But now playing these cards are like insane. But yeah, Snow Princess is the new card, one of the new cards. Just absolutely insane, like such a broken card. But we don't play 3 because like you can recycle this back, you can search it, it's like insanely searchable, and like you can just have access to like any plant in your deck like at any time, so like playing 2 ofs are like fine. Especially speaking of 2 ofs, or playing 2 Mardell, or not Mardell, Mudon, and then 2 Snowdrop. So yeah, I just keep saying Mardell. That's the generator. This is Rika. This is Mudon. But no, she's like actually really insane, especially if you draw this in conjunction with Cone. You can basically just activate Cone and then just like tribute one of your opponent's guys for cost, which is like insane. So Yeah, and then you get a free search. You can make Strenna off of this. You can make Sheet off of this. You could just do everything, and you get like searches for Rika spell traps, which is like actually just like broken. 2 Snowdrop is like also really good. It comes up pretty often that you want to add the second one, even though you can like recur stuff with Strenna. I think that still playing the 2 is definitely the way to go. Although I might put Mudan to 3 because of how broken she is. Then for the field spell, we just play 2 of them, 2 Konkon. This card's like actually just like so broken. Just being able to like activate it and then just like attribute his cost for like Glamour or like Mudan or Snowdrop or like literally just like any of your Rikas is like just actually insane because it tributes for cost. So like they can't even respond with that monster, which is like so broken. Yeah. 1 Sheet, same thing here. This card is like insane as well because obviously you can trigger it during your opponent's turn with Konkon. So being able to interrupt like 2 of their cards is like so good. 2 cards off of 1 card. It's like so insane. Then we're on a Therion package, so we're on 3 copies of Lily Berea, the 1 Therion Disc Coliseum, and the 1 King Regulus. These are like really good because obviously you can search this off of your Sunavalon Engine, and it's also just like super easy to get to, like through like anything. Another really cool thing is that off of Glamour, if you tribute for it, like you can tribute one of your opponent's guys, and then you can search for Snowdrop, and then you can also search for Lily Berea because she's level 8, which is like insane because she's like a plant level 8, so like it's like so broken. So that comes up like decently often, honestly. So I'm really glad that is like a play that we can do. Another really interesting thing is, you know, you can actually summon Regulus like half of the time, because the only things that really lock you in this deck are this after you use the effect, this after you use its effect, Petal after you use its effect, and Sowing. But Sowing only locks you from the extra deck, so you can actually just like combo, and then you can obviously search out Lily, and then Lily summons Regulus, because this only locks you from plants in the extra deck. So these are like perfectly fine, because you're just gonna like save these till later in your combo. So yeah, just make sure that you're playing the deck correctly and maintaining your locks properly, because that was about it. And then so that's it for the entire like plant engine. I might consider playing like a Mardell or something like that, just to get like a free extender, because that card is actually pretty good. But I didn't try it out because I wanted to see what the actual deck could do by itself. But it might be worth trying in the future. 3 copies of Crossout Designator. This is just for everything else that we play in the deck, because I mean this deck is like fine through some hand traps sometimes, but like a really well-timed hand trap can just end your turn sometimes. So having this is really good. But obviously it just depends on your hand. Like if you draw like just Loci and they imperm your Dryas, like sure, your turn's gonna end. But like if you're usually gonna have other extenders and other plays, so you'll usually be fine through like 1 or 2 hand traps sometimes. Then we played 2 Dark Ruler No More. I would have played 3, but I didn't have enough sleeves, although this card didn't come up, at least in game 1. So it was kind of whatever. For the rest of the hand traps, we really just play one-ofs until we get to one of them. So we play a Veiler, a DD Crow, Ash, Ogre, Imperm, Nib. I guess I said those backwards. And then we also play the Cypher package. Because obviously if you draw something like Lone Fire Blossom, then if you tribute it for cost and they ask you, then you just like chain the Gamma, and it's just so good. Another good thing that happens sometimes is you contribute for cost. You want your only plan on board for Glamour, and then they can ash that, and then you can chain the Gamma since you have nothing on board. So that's actually like really good. That comes up sometimes as well. But honestly, if I were to do this again, I'd probably take out the Ogres. And possibly the DD Crow. Like these aren't really that great of crossout targets, so maybe just these 4 or something like that. And then I'd cut these for just like 2 other cards. These might stay in depending on if I'm at locals or not. So if I'm going to a locals, these are like kind of worse, but if I go to like an actual like regional event or something, this might actually be the card to play. So I might cut these for something else. But yeah, I think it's 46 or 47 cards in the main deck. I could be completely wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's something like that. We're going to move on into the extra deck. So moving on into the extra deck, we play 2 copies of Strena. Card's actually just insane. A lot of times you leave this on board to trigger during your opponent's turn. So if you get Dark Ruler, Dropletted, whatever, then you can just tribute it for like Sheed or something like that, and then trigger its effect in the grave to summon from extra deck. So you can actually have like a monster interruption, even through like a Dark Ruler or a Drop It. So it's like really, really good. Also, this deck's like insane playing through those cards, because like you have Field Spell, you have Sheet, and you have Princess Engrave. So that's at the minimum like 3 ways to interrupt, even if you get Dark Rulered, which is like so good. 2 Teardrop. Obviously she's also just like insane. Just like basically just a Trident, which is actually really good. And it comes up sometimes to like tribute her own guys, and she'll gain like 200 attack, which can matter sometimes. But what actually matters with that combo is Kanzashi. So Kanzashi is a good one of, because you can summon this usually off of Strena. There's not really a great way to Xyz summon her naturally. But then if you have like a Teardrop, you can actually go for game with just these 2 guys. So what you do is you go battle phase, you attack with Teardrop, you attack with this. It's 5200. Then you're going to go Teardrop effect, tribute herself. Then you're going to use Kanzashi's effect, detach, and summon back the Teardrop. And then you're still in battle phase, so you just attack for game. So that's actually just like insane. It's exactly 8,000 damage if you have just these 2 guys on board. Obviously they have to have Xyz material, but still it comes up sometimes, and it's really, really strong. We play a Sacred Tree Beast. He's pretty good, honestly. Like there were a lot of times where you can just like make this off of Strena during your opponent's turn and just have a free monster negate, which is really good. Sometimes I would make it during my turn and then activate a spell and then chain his effect and then like attach like the Therion Coliseum or just like any other spell in my grave to him, and then I have a spell negate during my opponent's turn, which comes up sometimes. 1 copy of Cyframe Lord Omega. Obviously you just make this off of Gamma, but you do have to be aware of the restrictions. Obviously, like I said, like the Snowdrop, the Petal, and the Field Spell, and even Sowing in this case, because this is the only non-plant we play in the extra deck. So you do have to be aware of the restrictions when summoning him. But usually it's going to go something like Lone Fire, Chain, Gamma, or Lone Fire, Chain, Ash, Chain, Gamma, so you're not going to be locked at that point, so you'll be fine. Then for the Sunavalon cards, we're playing 2 copies of Dryas, 2 Healer. One of these can be Thrasher. I just don't think it's that good. Like, I'd rather have the extra 300 life points in case of time than having an extra 400 attack monster. Like, I don't know, it just like doesn't seem that good, to be honest. So that's why I just play those 2. Then we play 1 copy of Jasmine. She is insane, dude, because obviously you're going to trigger it with the Healer's effect, and then you can just search any plant in your deck, which is just so broken. Not only that, but then you can tribute one of the Sunavalon she points to, and then summon Lone Fire or summon, what's the other card? Petal from deck, and then you just get like another free surge. So it's just like so insane. She does literally like everything to get you in between your Sunavalon engine into your Rika engine, which is like really, really good. And then we play Sylvan Densephon. So sometimes this comes up if your Jasmine gets Veilered or Impermed, which is actually, I think personally, the correct call, because if your Dryas gets like Veilered or Impermed, then like sometimes you can still extend through. But if this gets Veilered, then you kind of have to go for the Densephon, which is like a little awkward sometimes. But no, she's like really insane, because if you have Princess Engrave, then you can target the 2 plants that she points to, make them level 4, and then you just make a Strena for free, which is like so broken. So a lot of times you make this to extend through like hand traps and stuff like that, and she is so worth it. 100% I'd play this again. She really overperformed from what I was expecting. 1 Melius, because this plus any plant or this plus any plant makes this, and then this by itself makes Groot. So he's really nice. Yeah, no, this guy's like really good as like a really cool interruption, especially because a lot of the times you're just going to be ending on having like 2 plants or something like this on the board, 2 like links that you just like aren't going to be doing anything with. So turning them into the Melius and then turning this into this is like really good, because you just turn the spare monsters on your board into a free interruption, which like is really nice. For the side deck, we play 3 copies of Evenly, 2 copies of Cosmic. Yeah, nothing really to say about that. And then the rest of it is just like the remaining hand traps, just like multiples. So we play the 3rd Dark Ruler no more, the 2 more Nibiru, 2 DD Crow, 2 Ogre, 2 Ash, and the last Imperm. Well, it's not the last, but it's the 2nd Imperm. I figured that I'd cut something, and I was already on a Veiler, so I played the 1 Veiler, 2 Imperm, so that makes a play set. So I figured that playing the 2nd Imperm was fine, or cutting the 3rd Imperm was fine. But yeah, no, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully I explained everything well. Maybe I'll do a combo tutorial at some point with this deck. This deck is like super cool. But yeah, maybe at some point I will if you know, this deck profile is received really well. So I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.